Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Daily Easy English Talk. I'm Emma.
And I'm Jack. Thanks for joining us.
We've all been there, haven't we? You know, you've got a meeting locked in. Maybe it's a big pitch, maybe just a quick sync up. And then, bam, life throws a curveball.
Right.
An urgent task hits your desk, or you're double booked, or, you know, maybe you're just not feeling 100%.
Happens all the time.
And that thought hits you, I need to cancel. But, well, how do you actually do it without feeling rude or like unprofessional?
Yeah, or leaving a bad taste somehow.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this a bit.
It really is so much more than just, click and delete on a calendar invite.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating, actually. These moments, they seem small, right? Minor inconveniences, but they can profoundly reflect on your professionalism. And crucially, your respect for other people's time, their valuable time.
That's a great point.
If you look at the bigger picture, sort of mastering this clear, polite communication, it's not just about dodging awkwardness. It's essential for keeping those professional relationships strong, built on trust.
Totally agree. And that's really our mission today for you. We're going to dive into 5 incredibly useful phrases. Phrases that help you cancel a meeting politely, making sure you manage the immediate thing, but also leave a genuinely positive impression.
Right, not just damage control.
Exactly. These aren't just polite words. They're sort of strategic tools for keeping up that good rapport, maybe even strengthening connections. Okay, let's kick things off. Our first go-to phrase, it's a classic for a reason. I'm really sorry, but I need to reschedule our meeting. Simple, direct.
And it immediately signals regret.
But what's the real, power behind just saying that?
Well, this one's super effective because it taps into something like acknowledgement and intent.
Yeah.
You lead with a sincere apology, right? So you're acknowledging their time, the potential hassle.
Okay.
And then by immediately saying you intend to reschedule, you shift the focus. It's not just, I'm canceling, it's let's find a new time.
So you're already offering a solution.
Exactly. It heads off frustration and it signals respect. Research actually shows even a quick, sincere apology can really dial down negative feelings in these situations. Makes the other person way more receptive.
That makes sense, preempting the frustration. Okay, so if that's our sort of damage control staple, what about when you need to give a little context, but, without oversharing?
Right.
That brings us to phrase number 2. Something urgent has come up. Can we move our meeting?
Yeah, this one uses what you could call the briefing principle. You give just enough info to explain why there's a change, but you don't get bogged down in details that might sound like, excuses.
Keeps it professional.
Totally. It respects boundaries, but still explains the need. It shows transparency without, stilling your life story.
Right.
Plus, it's concise and immediately suggests moving forward, finding that new time.
Okay, I like that. But I sometimes worry even that could feel a bit, demanding. Like, I have an urgent thing, so we have to move.
That's a fair point.
So our third phrase offers maybe a softer touch, especially good in writing. Would it be possible to postpone our meeting? What makes asking it as a question so effective?
This one is brilliant. It's all about invitational language. That's a key idea in collaborative communication.
Invitational language.
Instead of just stating a fact, I need to postpone, it frames it as a question. You're inviting their cooperation.
Yeah.
It shifts the whole dynamic. It's not just your decision anymore. It feels like you're tackling the scheduling issue together. That really boosts how receptive they are and builds that positive rapport. You're kind of empowering them in the process.
Right. Makes it feel more like teamwork. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, especially if you want to really emphasize flexibility. Phrase number 4, can we reschedule for another time that works for you?
Oh, this one's great.
Why does putting the ball squarely in their court work so well?
This phrase powerfully shows what psychologists call autonomy support. You're demonstrating maximum respect for their time and their flexibility.
By letting them choose.
Exactly. You're basically saying, your schedule matters most here, let me know what works. It shifts the burden of finding that new slot onto you, implicitly. It strongly reinforces your commitment to actually having the meeting, showing their convenience is a priority. It feels like an act of service, really. Builds goodwill.
Okay, that's a really thoughtful one. And finally, our fifth phrase. This one's pretty direct but still polite. Perfect for when you just need clarity without a lot of fuss. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make our meeting.
Yep, this is your go-to for clarity and conciseness, especially if time is really tight.
Just get straight to the point.
It does, but it maintains that polite tone with unfortunately. Leaves absolutely no room for confusion or ambiguity. Think of it as the professional equivalent of a clear but still regretful no. It lets both sides just move on quickly without getting bogged down. No over-explaining needed, which is sometimes crucial.
So what does this all mean? When you put it all together, these 5 simple phrases, they really can transform what could be an awkward, maybe even damaging interaction. They turn it into something clear, respectful, and professional. It's not just about saying no to the meeting time.
Right.
It's more like saying, not right now, but I value our connection. I value our time together. These are tools, really, that can genuinely enhance your professional interactions, make you someone people are actually happy to work with.
Absolutely. And maybe think about this. Consider how mastering these small acts of politeness, this kind of communication skill, can have a really profound impact, not just on single interactions, but on your overall reputation, your future opportunities even.
Good point. Okay, that's a fantastic toolkit. 5 really distinct phrases, each with its own sort of strategic value. But, knowing the words are one thing. Seeing them actually used in different contexts, that's where it really clicks, I think.
Absolutely.
Let's see how these phrases actually play out in real world exchanges, because the channel you use, email, text, phone, Slack, that often changes the wording and the tone a bit, right?
Definitely.
So we're going to act out a few scenarios so you can really hear them in action.
Yeah, this is where we kind of bridge that gap between the theory and the actual practice. Show you how adaptable these phrases really are across different ways we communicate at work. Listen not just for the words, but the kind of implied tone and efficiency too.
Okay, dialogue 1, an email to a client. I'll be the one sending the email. Here goes. Acting the part. Hi, Jack. I'm really sorry, but I need to reschedule our meeting due to an urgent task. Would Thursday still work for you?
Okay, perfect. See, this works beautifully for an email to a client. Why? Because it hits that sweet spot. It's formal enough, right? Professional. But it's immediately empathetic with, I'm really sorry. You gave a brief, but importantly vague and professional reason, an urgent task. That lines up perfectly with what we said about using neutral shields like scheduling conflict or something urgent.
Right, keeps it professional.
Exactly. Maintains that boundary, but signals a real impediment. And critically, you immediately proposed a specific alternative.
Okay, cool. That felt pretty natural for an email. Now let's switch gears, something much faster, less formal. A text message to a coworker.
Okay, quick fire.
Acting the part. Hi, Jack. Something urgent has come up. Can we move our meeting to the afternoon?
Bam. Text message. Why? It prioritizes brevity and directness. Absolutely essential for texting.
Gotta be quick.
Right. Something urgent has come up. Perfect for getting that importance across fast without needing a novel-length explanation in a text. Signals a real pressing concern, no oversharing needed. And then the immediate suggestion to the afternoon shows efficiency, shows you want a quick resolution. It's direct, concise, respects the rapid-fire nature of texting, pulls straight from the succinctness and urgency of phrase 2 we talked about, gets straight to the point, offers a swift solution, exactly what you need for those quick, informal chats.
Makes sense. Okay, how about when you actually have a chance for a bit more, nuance? Like on a phone call.
Ah, yes. Voice adds a whole other layer.
Acting the part. Hi, Jack. Calling because I'm wondering, would it be possible to postpone our meeting? I actually need a bit more time to prep the report, and I want to make sure I come fully prepared for our chat.
Absolutely. See, a phone call lets you add that extra context, that bit of relational warmth. Here you added, I need a bit more time to prepare the report.
Yeah, a real reason.
And a perfectly valid professional reason. That's a level of detail you might share verbally, but probably wouldn't cram into a text. It shows you're proactive, you're committed to the meeting's quality. And notice the phrasing. Would it be possible? That softness we discussed with phrase 3, still crucial even when speaking. It invites that collaborative discussion about rescheduling, makes the other person feel heard, involved in finding a new time.
Right.
And of course, on the phone, your actual voice, the tone, the inflection, the empathy adds another powerful layer of politeness, reinforces the respect. Feels much more personal, less transactional.
Definitely. Okay, shifting again, another common digital space, Slack chat or Teams chat, whatever people use. Often internal team stuff, maybe faster than email, but still text.
Right, that hybrid space.
Acting the part. Hi, team. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make our stand-up at 9 a.m. Can we reschedule for tomorrow morning? Apologies for the late notice.
Nice. Similar to a text, right? Direct, concise. Exactly what you need for those internal team chat platforms. You used, unfortunately, from phrase 5, softens the direct statement, I won't be able to make it.
Yeah, acknowledges the impact.
Without over-apologizing, then boom, immediate clear alternative, tomorrow morning. And adding that apologies for the late notice, that shows awareness, respect for the team's time, especially for something like a stand-up, which is usually quick and routine.
Right, don't want to mess up the flow.
Exactly.
Okay, our final role play. This one's interesting because it involves power dynamics. A manager canceling on an employee. Sometimes people think, oh, if I'm the boss, I don't need to be that polite.
Yes. A common misconception. Let's hear it.
Acting the part. Hi, Jack. I'm really sorry, but I need to push our one-on-one to next week. I've had something urgent land on my plate. Does Tuesday work for you?
This is such a crucial example because it powerfully shows that politeness is absolutely a two-way street, no matter the hierarchy. Even as the manager, using I'm really sorry, right, from phrase 1, is hugely beneficial. It shows respect for the employee's time. It acknowledges their schedule is valuable too. You're not just taking it for granted.
Right, their time matters.
Exactly. And push, that's common, casual professional jargon for delaying a meeting. Perfectly fine here, very efficient. Adding, I've had something urgent land on my plate. Brief, professional explanation. Validates the cancellation without oversharing.
It's clean.
Yeah. And the direct suggestion, does Tuesday work? Efficient for a busy manager, likely has limited slots. It communicates the change clearly, quickly, but still considerately.
Now, what does all this mean for you listening right now? This last section is really your chance to engage, to practice applying these phrases, these principles we've discussed, to a few really common situations you might actually run into.
Yeah, think of this like a mental workout. We'll throw out a scenario, and you can pause, maybe think about how you would phrase the cancellation based on what we've covered before we discuss a suggested approach. It helps really cement the phrases and the why behind them. Turns knowing into doing.
Exactly. Let's embed this stuff. Okay, situation 1. You need to cancel a meeting with your boss. This one feels high stakes, right?
A bit tricky.
How do you tell someone higher up you can't make it without sounding, I don't know, irresponsible?
Yeah, definitely challenging. The absolute key here is demonstrating utmost respect, total professionalism, and being super proactive. So a really effective phrase could be, I'm really sorry, but I need to reschedule our meeting due to an unforeseen priority. Could we perhaps connect tomorrow morning instead?
Okay, break that down. Why does that work so well?
Right. First, that immediate, I'm really sorry. Absolutely vital when talking to a superior. Shows you get that their time is important, the meeting matters. Second, unforeseen priority. That's our professional neutral shield, again, like scheduling conflict or something urgent. Conveys legitimacy without oversharing. And third, critically, the explicit offer of an immediate, specific alternative. Could we perhaps connect tomorrow morning instead? That shows huge respect for their time. Shows you're proactive in fixing the conflict. You're not just canceling, you're actively trying to reconvene ASAP. Any busy boss will appreciate that efficiency.
Okay, moving on. Situation 2. You have unfortunately double booked yourself. The classic nightmare. We've all done it. Feels pretty embarrassing. How do you get out of that gracefully without having to confess your scheduling blunder?
Ah, the double booking dilemma. Happens to the best of us. The goal here is smooth, discreet recovery that protects your professional image. For this one, a great phrase is, "Something urgent has unexpectedly come up. Can we move our meeting to next week?"
Okay, using something urgent again.
Exactly. Something urgent has unexpectedly come up, straight from phrase 2. It's the perfect professional shield here. It covers up the double booking mistake without you needing to confess or explain how you messed up. Your professional image stays intact.
You're not lying, technically.
You're not. You're just stating a legitimate, sudden demand on your time, resolving the double booking as urgent now. Without giving unnecessary personal details, you're using that information asymmetry wisely and offering a flexible next week that shows real consideration for the other person's schedule, especially since, you're the one who made the error.
Right, give them lots of leeway. Okay, last one. A really sensitive, often very last-minute situation. Situation 3. You have a family emergency and need to cancel. This is when you're likely stressed, probably short on time, and the details are obviously private.
Yeah, this is a tough moment. Communication needs to be fast, clear, compassionate, but absolutely without requiring you to share personal details you're not ready or able to share. The phrase to lean on here is, "Unfortunately, I won't be able to make our meeting today due to an unforeseen urgent family matter. Can we reschedule for another time that works for you?"
Okay, let's unpack that one.
Right. "Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it." Drawing from phrase 5, it's direct but compassionate.
Yeah.
Perfect for a real emergency where long explanations are just inappropriate or impossible. Adding "due to an unforeseen urgent family matter" gives just enough context. It signals seriousness, says this is real, without inviting nosy questions, respects your privacy completely. And then that explicit offer, "Can we reschedule for another time that works for you?" That shows you're still committed to the meeting's purpose, despite the emergency. And it prioritizes their convenience during what's clearly a difficult time for you. The focus is just on clear, swift communication, stating the unavoidable need to cancel and immediately offering to reschedule. Shows that even though the emergency is top priority, your professional responsibilities are still on your radar.
Wow, that really is such a practical, powerful set of tools. We've covered the words, the strategy behind them, even how to handle the tricky bits. It really shows how much thought, how much subtle psychology goes into what seems like just a simple professional courtesy.
And the core message, the thing we really hope you take away from this, is that canceling a meeting, it doesn't have to be stressful or awkward.
Right.
By using the right words, understanding the communication principles underneath, and really adopting that solution-focused approach, it actually becomes another chance, a chance to show you're professional, you respect others' time, you've got excellent organizational skills. It actually reflects positively on your personal brand.
Absolutely. And think about those 2 fundamental principles we kept coming back to, right? Always show respect for the other person's time. Always. And always, always offer to reschedule or at least provide a clear path forward.
Those 2 things, they're the bedrock.
Yeah, those 2 actions combined with the specific kind of psychologically smart phrases we shared today, they really underpin all polite professional cancellations. They're the foundation of good professional etiquette, effective relationship management in these tricky moments. They truly are. These small acts of courtesy, they seem small, but when you do them with that precision, that mindfulness, they create these really positive ripple effects way beyond just that one canceled meeting.
And that brings us perfectly to our final thought, something for you to maybe mull over after this. How might mastering these seemingly small acts of professional courtesy cancel it? Well, how might that not just smooth over the immediate inconvenience, but subtly build your reputation? Your reputation as someone who's reliable, considerate, highly professional. Think about how consistently showing that genuine respect, that clear communication, that proactive problem solving, especially in moments of unexpected change. How could that strengthen your professional relationships over time, enhance how competent people perceive you to be, and ultimately maybe even open doors to new opportunities down the line? Just consider that ripple effect, the profound impact of genuine respect in every single interaction you have.
We hope this deep dive gave you some useful tools for your English conversations.
And join us next time. We're going to tackle another common situation.
So make sure you follow or subscribe so you don't miss it. And maybe share the show with any friends who are also learning English.
Yeah, definitely do that.
Thanks so much for listening today.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Catch you next time.
Bye for now. And remember to subscribe to Daily Easy English Talk.